What's up, guys? Today we are probably going to be reading a very badly Google translated version of a Scooby-Doo episode webpage. So let's get started. Okay. What a night for a night somehow became Night's Night. When Scooby-Doo and Shaggy found an abandoned pickup truck in the front seat with the knight's armor on it, the group transported it to the museum to replace the missing professor. But it said that the Black Knight, random Chinese, every full moon, more random Chinese. A man drove on the road at night to pick him up, but did not know that the dark armor behind his back had recovered his life and left the shelter. Then looked at the driver. His eyes turned yellow from the inside of the helmet. Nearby, Scooby and Shaggy were walking home. Shaggy complained that they were too late because the former had to see the Star, the Dark Ranger of the Northern Woods, Chinese. Scooby was still excited about it. At that time, a rustling sound was heard. Then Scooby-Doo put his head in, and he took it out. A frog was on his nose. When it jumped off, Scooby-Doo felt annoyed, barking and chasing, prompting Shao Jr. to follow quickly. Stopped and guided Shaggy past him. And then they noticed the old pickup truck was now abandoned. Because obviously they knew about it before the episode even began, so when they looked closely, they saw the lifeless dark armor on the driver's seat. Once their heads fall off, the two will soon be scared away by themselves being headless. Then they came back with other team members for proper inspections, and then Fred commented on why the knight's armor would go out alone in the driver's seat of a truck in the middle of the night. When Daphne wanted to know who it was, Velma scolded him for joking. Fred read, "For Jameson Hyde White, Professor of Archaeology in London, England." Then Shaky made another joke, saying he had heard of hide and seek, but not Hyde White. Velma said this is the English name. The next day, the gang went to the museum. They gave the night to the museum director, Mr. Wickers. He thanked them, but worried that Professor Hyde White might not be a good idea. He's probably dead. Velma asked him what Professor Hyde White was doing, although he had found an appropriate answer, and replied that the professor was passing it on to people who explained the legend of the Black Knight, and how he lived at the full moon. From England to the museum. In this case, they did not notice the knight's glowing eyes, and two workers began to move the crates. One of them asked Mr. Wickers where to put the slats. He told them put the slats inside. When Scooby followed the workers, he found a pair of strange glasses. When Daphne called him, he picked them up, and Fred said they were leaving. Velma said that when driving to town, this mystery puzzled her and made her furry hungry. Furry. He asked when they could eat. Scooby looked up to agree, still wearing the discovered glasses. Others noticed and realized that his rude people wanted to know what they were for. Fred suggested they go to the library and check it out. It was found in a museum. In the library, they read a book and said that the glasses were prepared for jewelers, scientists, and archaeologists such as Professor Hyde White. and that they were made in England. Those two clues indicate that something is in use, and the gang plans to return to the museum to investigate. The gang returned to the museum at night and broke into the high windows. They split up looking for clues, but they didn't know that the ghostly eyes on the Indian statue were watching them. Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and Veema ran into the Black Knight and found a clue. A brief dispute. Scooby-Doo broke into the fossil exhibition, and started biting his bones. Ow. But was chased by the knight. He met Shaky, and the two found one of the paintings was missing. He notified the gang, but when they returned, the painting was back on the wall. Fred, Daphne, Velma. Stop changing your name, Velma. Shaggy and Scooby did follow the traces of paint in a hidden room behind the sarcophagus, and found it inside, full of finished and unfinished paintings. Fred and the girls hid in the armored vehicles of World War II, while Shaggy and Scooby hid in the biplanes of World War I. Scooby-Doo accidentally flipped the power supply, and the plane roared, shut up, and flew around the room, even losing 2 wings until it finally crashed, knocking the knight down. He is a member of a smuggling syndicate. He would steal and sell real paintings, then make fake paintings and put them back on the wall. This explains hidden rooms. Lost paintings and paint falling on the floor. Mr. Wickles knew that Mr. Professor Hyde-White would know that these paintings were fake, so he kidnapped them and came up with his Black Knight trick. Later it was discovered that the Whites lied to the Knight, was exposed as Mr. Wickers, the curator, a member of a smuggling group. Wait, why is it repeating this? Why is it repeating itself all the way from there to here? Let me see. After his release, he discussed with the gang the unspoken incident, and Wickles only used it to cover up his mysterious disappearance, explaining that he had put on the armor in some way and made him disappear on the way to the museum. The Black Knight in the museum office. He raised his helmet and found it was Scooby-Doo. The whole gang was laughing.